Hey everyone, Chris here from Whiskey Creek. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to do some work on this TH&B caboose. I got this at a train show and I got overly excited when I saw that it was a TH&B caboose. I've been looking for one for a while. Didn't realize how many things were going wrong with this thing. So let's get started on what we can fix. One of the things that I found out as soon as I got home, it went on to the TH&B Historical Society website looking for some information about the caboose that I got, only to find out that there's no such thing as a number 74. So they go up to 72. There's a 70 series, there is an 80 series, but the one that I have in my hand never actually existed. So then I tried to figure out what is this number 74 based off of. Having a quick look at the newest models, the Angus van ones, it clearly wasn't one of them. So turning back to the 70 series, this is one of the cabooses, number 70, that's located at the Toronto Roundhouse. And while it's kind of similar in some ways, there's many things that are different. The ladder placement, the number of windows, a lot of things going on here that it just isn't the same model. So making quick work of searching through the Google, I found that there's a whole line of these Atlas/Lifelike cabooses. I don't know if any of these ever actually existed, but you can see that they have on one side at least 5 windows, not including the cupola, and then 3 windows on the other side. And none of these definitely belong to TH&B. Whether or not they belong to any of the other lines, not really quite sure, but that's outside of the scope of what I'm going to work on here. So I'm not going to renumber it because this actual model just never existed anyways, so there's no point in trying to match the number up with one that did exist. But I am going to make a couple changes where I'm going to replace the couplers. These ones look like they belong on almost like a passenger car or something like that with really long shanks on them, and also add some window glazing to the windows because right now there's literally nothing in there. So let's get started. So to do these upgrades, I ended up getting some universal body mounted couplers, and I got the assembled ones because life is too short to spend time assembling body mount couplers. And then I also got actual caboose trucks. Those ones are designed for proper cushioning. And then for the window glazing, I'm just using some plastic pieces from an old wrapper of some type, and I save those to be recycled in other projects like this one. So the first step is to get everything disassembled. So the massive couplers and trucks come off fairly easily, and since it's a very basic design caboose, then the lower body pretty well comes off without too much ease, and it's all a single construction. So just prying away at it, and you want to also loosen off the ladders at the top of the roof walk there, so it will basically just slide right out. The next step is cutting up my see-through plastic packaging. So I cut off all the extra part of whatever package it was actually attached to, so I'm working with a semi-clear piece. And the nice thing about using these self-healing mats is they have the measurements on there, so it makes a pretty good reference for when you need to measure things out. And so lining things up, and I was able to figure out, oh, it's X number of squares across, and I can cut it down, and it's a lot easier for trying to make things fit and get it cut down right the first time. The cupola is only held on by two little tabs, so I popped that off just to make it easier for when it comes time to adding the windows inside there. My lack of patience certainly came out in this step. I know that there's specialty glues that you can use for gluing clear parts, but I just ended up just using plain old super glue, CA glue, and just put a little dab out and use a toothpick to be able to apply into the areas. Try to control it so it's not going all over the place, but just little dabs here and there, and then slide my clear pieces into place. And of course, don't forget the cupola. This piece took a little bit more. There's not a lot of glue area to attach the clear piece to, and then obviously you need much smaller clear pieces to be able to actually get in there. And then finally, you want to be able to add some small pieces in for the windows as part of the end doors. This is the point where I tried to get fancy and tried to use my tweezers, and apparently I was all thumbs today because everything went flying all over the place. So once I was able to figure out where the pieces went and finally got a grip of them, then I could actually get them glued into place. So next up came installing the trucks. The microtrains make it pretty easy, and they give you all the adapters. I found they were a little loose at first. What I didn't show was I actually added for the next ones the spacer, and that helped make things a little bit tighter and overall cut down on how much wobble. As you can see, it's a little bit tighter in place now. Really the hardest part is this last one, and that is installing the body mounted coupler. So you do need a little pin vise and to figure out where you want to actually put it. They tell you to put it about 1/8 back. I didn't measure it, I just sort of went by feel, and in the end it turned out fine, but they do give you the suggestions of putting it about 1/8 back and then drill a hole into place, and then you'll need a really tiny flathead screwdriver to actually screw the coupler into its location. Now before I reassembled everything, I ended up using my track snips to flush cut the amount of screw that sort of protruded on top. It ended up sticking out a lot farther than I expected. I don't know if it's supposed to do that. Maybe I installed it wrong, but what I ended up then doing is just taking a little bit of black paint and then dabbing that with a toothpick just to cut down on how much you see of the metal sticking through, and once it's installed, really you don't even notice it's there. And now comes time for the last step of reassembly, and the super glue should be nice and dry, and everything should just basically snap back into place. Don't forget to reassemble the ladders into their little tabs that they belong, and your caboose is back ready for action. Once you get it out into the layout, you can see the coupler height is perfect match for my locomotive that I have, and the trucks look great and the windows look really good. Very happy with all the upgrades that I did to this thing. And remember, a man with rest is at his best. If you enjoyed these simple upgrades just to make one piece of rolling stock just a little bit better, thanks for watching.